And, woo, I've got my Ready for Friday fun earrings. Aren't they cute? Woo, all kinds of sparkles. So we got that going for us today. All right. Curious George by H.A. Rey, and also the illustrator. And where is George going? And with a telephone, no less. All right, and there's George walking across the wires. He's a silly monkey, isn't he? He's active, like all monkeys. This is George. He lived in Africa. He was a good little monkey and always very curious. There he is on his swing, having a nice banana. There's a butterfly, enjoying life. One day, George saw a man. He had on a large yellow straw hat. The man saw George too. What a nice little monkey, he thought. I would like to take him home with me. He put his hat on the ground, and of course, George was curious. He came down from the tree to look at the large yellow hat. See, there's the man right there in the yellow hat, and there's George, and then right down here, yeah, he puts his hat down. Woo! What's that? The hat had been on the man's head. George thought it would be nice to have it on his own head. He picked it up and put it on. Woo! Go George. The hat covered George's head. He couldn't see. The man picked him up quickly and popped him into a bag. George was caught. Oh, look at him. He didn't want to be caught. The man with the big yellow hat put George in a little boat, and a sailor rowed them both across the water to a big ship. George was sad, but he was still a little curious. See, even George looks happy there. Looks like he's got a little bit of a smile on. See some fish there? Going to the big boat. On the big ship, things began to happen. The man took off the bag. George sat on a little stool, and the man said, George, I am going to take you to a big zoo in a big city. You will like it there. Now run along and play, but don't get into trouble. George promised to be good, but it is easy for little monkeys to forget. On the deck, he found some seagulls. He wondered how they could fly. He was very curious. Finally, he had to try. It looked easy, but do you think monkeys can fly just off the end of the boat there? Oh, what happened? First this, and then this. First this. He does a dive, think he's flying, and then this! He winds up in the water with the fishies. Where is George? The sailors looked and looked. At last they saw him, struggling in the water, and almost all tired out. You see? There's George right there, swimming. That's from the end of the telescope, they can see him. Man overboard! Cried the sailors, as they threw him a lifebelt. George caught it and held on. At last he was safe on board. Oh my goodness. George spitting out some water and some fishes. After that, George was more careful to be a good monkey until at last the long trip was over. George said goodbye to the kind sailors, and he and the man with the yellow hat walked off the ship onto the shore and on into the city to the man's house. Looks like the captain saying goodbye. George walking off on his own, right? After a good meal and a good pipe, George felt a little tired. Oh, he has on the man's jammies. He crawled into bed and fell asleep at once. Look at his cute little slippers. His bag there, some bananas for breakfast. The next morning, the man telephoned the zoo. George watched him. He was fascinated. Then the man went away. George was curious. He wanted to telephone too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What fun! Ding-a-ling-a-ling! George had telephoned the fire station. The firemen rushed to the telephone. Hello? Hello, they said. But there was no answer. Then they looked for the signal on the big map that showed where the telephone call had come from. They didn't know it was George. Oh, they thought it was a real fire. Hurry, hurry, hurry! The firemen jumped onto the fire engines and onto the hook and ladders. Ding dong, ding dong! Everyone out of the way! Hurry, hurry, hurry! Ooh, look at those old-fashioned fire trucks. Woohoo! Cool, huh? Neat. The firemen rushed into the house. They opened the door. No fire! Only a naughty little monkey. Oh, catch him, they cried. George tried to run away. He almost did. But he got caught in the telephone wire and... Oh, look at it. What a ruckus. Trying to catch a little monkey. How many guys are there trying to catch a little monkey? Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 guys trying to catch a monkey? A thin fireman caught one arm, and a fat fireman caught the other. You fooled the fire department, they said. We will have to shut you up, where you can't do any more harm. They took him away and shut him in prison. George wanted to get out. He climbed up to the window to try the bars. Just then the watchman came in. He got on the wooden bed to catch George, but he was too big and heavy. The bed tipped up and the watchman fell over. And, quick as lightning, George ran out through the open door. He hurried through the building and out onto the roof. And then he was lucky to be a monkey. Out he walked onto the telephone wires. Quickly and quietly, over the guard's head, George walked away. He was free. My goodness. Look, there's a kitty cat up on that roof. Oh my goodness. Can you see it, the white kitty? Down in the street, outside the prison wall, stood a balloon man. A little girl bought a balloon for her brother. George watched. He was curious again. He felt he must have a bright red balloon. He reached over and tried to help himself, but... Ooh, what's going on? Instead of one balloon, the whole bunch broke loose. In an instant the wind whisked them all away, and with them went George, holding tight with both hands. Look at, they're all looking up over here. Oh no! Sometimes he's too curious. Up, up he sailed, higher and higher. The houses looked like toy houses, and the people like dolls. George was frightened. He held on very tight. At first the wind blew in great gusts. Then it quieted. Finally it stopped blowing altogether. George was very tired. Down, down he went, bump, onto the top of a traffic light. Everyone was surprised. The traffic got all mixed up. George didn't know what to do. And then he heard someone call, "George!" He looked down and saw his friend, the man with the big yellow hat. Woohoo! Thank goodness. See, there he is, landed on the traffic light, and there is the man with the yellow hat. George! George was very happy. The man was happy too. George slid down the post, and the man with the big yellow hat put him under his arm. Then he paid the balloon man for all the balloons. And then George and the man climbed into the car, and at last away they went. Is that there? Oh. Got some little marionette type things here too. Here he goes. And the man with the yellow hat's fancy car. And at last away they went to the zoo. What a nice place for George to live. Look at, all the animals have balloons too. Everybody's got a balloon. The end. See on the back, George running with the phone. Curious George by H.A. Ray, who wrote it and drew the pictures. So I hope you enjoyed our Friday book and that you have a super day, super, super, super day. Remember to read, and write your own books too. Don't forget to write your own books. And we won't see you tomorrow. I won't see you tomorrow on Saturday, but I'll be back again on Sunday. So I hope that you enjoy a blessed, blessed day, Friday and Saturday. And I'll see you again on Sunday. Until then, always remember the most important part of the day. Jesus loves you. Baci. Ciao.